In 2003, the average home price in Canada was roughly about $222,000. Fast forward 20 years, in 2023, the average home price in Canada is $657,000. That's almost 3 times increase in prices in just 2 decades. While wages have barely kept up. For many new immigrants, dream of owning a house feels like out of reach. But why? Why has home ownership in Canada has become almost unattainable for many Canadians and many new immigrants? In this video, we will deep down into 20 years of Canadian real estate, uncover the key reason behind the affordability crisis, and explores what is mean for you if you are someone who recently moved to Canada and looking to purchase your first home. Stick around because in this video, we will break down everything with graph, practical advice, and some facts. Hello everyone, my name is Parth Soni. I'm a realtor based in Waterloo Region, catering Waterloo and Toronto market. If you are someone who's looking to get into housing market, let me know. Happy to jump on a call with you, and you can book a call with me with the first link in the description. So in today's video, we will discuss three things. The very first one, the past, the 20 year of Canadian real estate trends. The second thing that we will discuss is the present, why homes are unaffordable today. And the third thing that we will discuss is that what it means for new immigrants. So to understand where we are today, let's rewind back to 2006. Back then, housing market in cities like Toronto were relatively affordable. In fact, the average home price back then were roughly about 5 times the household income. According to the 35% rule, where no more than 35% of your net income should go towards the housing market, back then in Toronto in 2006, we were well above. But then, three things happened that changed the entire real estate market. The very first thing that happened was a low interest rate environment. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bank of Canada had slashed their interest rate to near zero level. And this makes borrowing very cheap for someone who's looking to get a loan. Bank of Canada policy rates dropped from 4.5% to 0.25% after the financial crisis of 2008. And we can see over here that it stays very low for a whole decade, making borrowing very cheap. And during that time, population of Canada didn't stop in terms of immigration. Before the financial crisis, we saw roughly about 250,000 immigrants coming to Canada every year, and that still continues after the financial crisis as well. Now, Canada welcomes millions of immigrants during that time, fueling the demand in the housing market. And in the past couple of years, we all have seen a record number of immigrants coming to Canada. And as the population increases, zoning laws and the construction could not keep up with the higher demand. Hence, we have seen a demand supply issue in major cities across Canada. And just to make things clear, I'm also an immigrant. I came back in 2015, and I can tell firsthand what we have seen in terms of housing pricing. Back then, it's nowhere near what we are seeing. It's not only the housing prices going up, down, but significant increase in cost of living as well. That's why it's making more unaffordable for people to enter into housing market in today's condition. There is also another point which I want to discuss about the type of housing being made in Canada, but that is something for another video. So by mid 2010, housing prices were surging faster than the wages or income. And big cities like Toronto and Vancouver become global real estate hotspot, and Canadian home prices increases rapid. And while these numbers look very dramatic, but it's only one part of the story. So let's dig deeper into what happened. So why homes are so expensive today? So let's break it down into 5 factors. The very first one we have over here is the investor activity. Over the past decade, many foreign investors and also local investors scooped so many rental properties out in major cities in Canada. And the consequence of it is the higher prices. In some cities, investors own over 30% of the housing units. Then the next thing we have are the government policies. Taxes, fees, and other charges which comes along the houses grows very rapidly in the past decade. One of which is the development charge. Since 2010, while inflation has grown up by 41%, but the development charge grown over by 900% in city of Toronto. While there are so many first-time home buyer policies in Act, but many critics argue they are not enough to support first-time home buyer, especially when the housing prices are so high. And this brings down to the third factor is the inflation and the interest rate. Everyone knows that the pandemic sparked inflation in Canada and across the globe. And Bank of Canada raised interest rate in that response. And higher rates means bigger monthly payment, making home ownership even harder. Just to give you an idea, a change or rise in interest rate by 1% could reduce your borrowing capacity by roughly about 10% or $70,000. The fourth factor we have in this one is the zoning restriction. Many cities restricts higher density housing in the prime areas and posh neighborhoods. And this limiting supplies drives up the price. While this might not be the true case, as government is coming up with so many innovative ideas like mass timber project. Recently, they have approved up to 18 stories of mass timber project. There is something called garden suites that come into city of Toronto. So there are so many incentives which done by government to support the housing market. And this kind of initiative could speed up the construction process and reduces the prices as well. The last factor which many people blame is the immigration and their demand. So Canada welcomed over 1.2 million immigrants in last 3 years. While this is really great for economic growth, and at that point of time we really need more amount of people coming into the country, adding more into productivity, but at the same time they all will require a housing in a market where it's already unavailable or unaffordable. And this puts immense pressure on the housing market. If you're a new immigrant who come to Canada in past 2 to 3 years, you may feel stuck between a rock and a hard place. You worked so hard, you saved up for a down payment, you sacrificed so many things, but still the housing seems unaffordable at so many. And as I mentioned previously, it does not necessarily have to go with the house pricing, but the cost of living as well. Now here's why it's especially tough for newcomers. When you look at the housing, the very first cost come into mind is the down payment. With the cities like Toronto and the pricing going up, coming up even with the minimum down payment, it's very high. With an average home price of roughly about $800,000, even coming up with minimum down payment would cost you roughly about $60 to $70,000, including the housing cost. Now, at the same time, rents are so high, many immigrants are not able to save enough for their down. The second thing is the limited option in the housing market. Many affordable homes are often far away from the major hub or the major job sector area, and this leads to increase in the commuting time. And as an immigrant, I can totally say not for many people a one bedroom would be an ideal space for someone with a family of two or three. And to add to this, many immigrants are coming to Canada have a certain lifestyle back home, so they don't want to negotiate on that kind of lifestyle as well when purchasing a house. And this prolongs their renting cycle and delaying in the buying. The third thing that makes it very harder for first time home buyers is the bidding war. It's even harder when you are competing with an uneducated buyer or a pushy realtor on the other. And all these factors work parallel when you're coming to a new country, learning so many things and looking for a better opportunity as well. While Canadian housing market is challenging, but knowledge is power. By understanding the market, planning strategically, and working with professionals, you can make your home ownership a reality. If you found this video helpful, the only thing I ask is to like and subscribe to my channel for more insights on Canadian real estate like this. If you have any questions, you can drop a comment below or you can also book a one-on-one call with. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.